Hallo, hier ist Michael Adams für Stock-Telegraph. Ich hatte ja angekündigt schon im März, dass ich einen CEO-Roaster gerne machen wollte mit International Lithium. Die Aktie hatten dich damals bei 9 Cent in Stock-Telegraph Musterdepot genommen. Wir waren im Hoch sogar schon, ich glaube, auf 38 Cent, sind jetzt wieder runtergekommen in, ich weiß den heutigen Kurs nicht, aber so, denk mal so 23, 25 Cent. Also auf jeden Fall super Erfolg für alle, die damals auf mich gehört haben oder mein Report oder mein Interview mit dem Gary als Anlass genommen haben, ihre Due Diligence zu machen und dann in das Unternehmen zu investieren. Also alles richtig gemacht. Und ja, heute habe ich neben dem Gary, der ist der CEO der Company, auch noch den Kirill Klip dabei. Er ist President und auch ein großer Investor. Und ja, freue mich, dass wir A, natürlich noch mal ein bisschen was über die Company erfahren, aber B, auch ein bisschen, und da ist insbesondere der Kirill der Spezialist, über den gesamten Lithium-Markt. Dabei wünsche ich Ihnen viel Spaß. Okay, Gary, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. Let me start off with Gary, as some of my viewers and readers already are familiar with him. Gary, as you might remember, the first video interview was on the day when you announced the new project acquisition in Ontario. How do you pronounce it, Raleigh?
Raleigh Lake, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so straight is tough for a German to pronounce it. Anyway, so congratulations, because since then the stock had a huge run. Yeah, this seems to me, this was kind of the catalyst, right? Nobody had ILC on the agenda, and then you came out with this news release, and for whatever reason, then the stock just went to the moon, up to 38 cents. Now it's settling back a little bit. But can you bring us up to speed? What happened fundamentally within the company since that last interview?
Well, actually, thanks, Michael. Lots has really happened with the company since we last spoke. As you mentioned, we've acquired the Raleigh Lake, or Raleigh project in Ontario. That's kind of a pivotal acquisition which adds to our Mavis Lake, and which we'll talk about a little bit later, is our Upper Canada lithium pool project. And that's a key factor on that. But also, and more importantly, we've gotten very active on our other projects here with our partner Ganfeng Lithium. We're now drilling in Ireland on our Avalonia project. We've been drilling there for approximately a month now. We've had, we haven't had any results at this point, but again, the exploration is ongoing, and from what I hear from the field, everything's going very smoothly and well. And in addition to that, we've been doing a lot of work on our Mavis Lake, our Mariana project in Argentina. We have now completed our geophysics, which essentially we do the geophysics to essentially get to fully understand the whole basin and what potential the deposit could be, size-wise, and where the bottom of the basin is. That's now been completed. We should be drilling on the Mariana within the next, hopefully within the next week to 10 days, and so that could be really key. And again, we're getting much closer to a really good, steady news flow. And in addition to that, of course, our Mavis Lake, which I mentioned is part of the Upper Canada pool, lithium pool, and our partner, Pioneer Metals, or Pioneer Resources out of Australia, they're committed, to spend $1.5 million to earn their 51%. In addition, they'll spend another $8.5 million to earn another 24%. And they want to move ahead, and they want to make some plans to actually be drilling Mavis Lake this summer. So again, that's all very positive. We're one of the few companies out there with a lot of very, very positive news flow coming out. Again, we were fortunate enough to have two very, very good partners. The company is funded to do this work, and again, it's one of the few lithium companies out there, I think, with this level of exposure to lithium project developments at this point. So that's basically, in a nutshell, a thumbnail, a quick summary of where we're at today. I think overall, I think Kirill will touch on that in a little bit, but we've got a lot more recognition in the lithium sector over the course of the last 6 weeks since we last spoke. Michael, there's been a lot of press out there, whether it be Tesla or, and everybody's been picking up on this whole lithium shortage and this whole lithium craze. So that certainly has helped our stock performance as well as our news flow.
Right. Right. No, and I saw a lot of these companies, and still, yeah, there's an inflow of new companies, yeah, or companies that are moving into the lithium sector. And you mentioned that there's not a lot of companies that have some substantial news flow. Yeah, lithium is in every second or third news release I read, yeah, from various companies, but it's all kind of. I'm missing the word. It's kind of flaky. It's not. They're not really doing something. They just want to make use of this lithium hype. Yeah, and this we discussed it already in our last video interview. That I was also drawn to International Lithium because you're not like brand new. Yeah, you haven't been established like last week just to make use of this hype. You're around since 2012, and actually you're a spin out of the parent company, right? So you've seen the ups and downs, right, in the lithium sector, because in 2012, when you came public, that was kind of the lithium 1.0 boom, right, or hype, I would call it. Yeah. And then everything fell apart, right? All these companies that in this first cycle moved into lithium, they're all gone. Not all, but most of them, right? And you are sticking to what you said you're going to do, right? And now you're kind of profiting from your experience in that sector and from the second. That's a shareholder, probably.
Yeah, we'll get that one later.
Yeah, no worries. And you were mentioning this. Actually, I have another report here from which was published in Germany, I think today or yesterday, right? And I will ask you a couple of questions because this guy is stating some things which I'm not sure if I have to agree, but you guys know better. You're the experts, so I will address that to you later on. But do you want to move forward in the presentation a bit, or do you want me to start with the questions?
Well, actually, why don't you start with the questions, and then maybe what we'll do is I'll explain our new initiative, our Upper Canada pool, on the other presentation here that we have. So.
Okay, cool. So no, that's cool. So let me ask you a question, Kirill, because you're the expert on the, let's say, green energy and overall lithium space. So in your mind, what's the difference between the first lithium boom in 2012 and this lithium boom right now? What's the main difference?
Yeah, very good question, Michael. Thank you. Actually, I will make a small joke. Maybe we should pick up that phone. Maybe it's Warren Buffett calling. And this is the largest difference for us between boom, like you said, 1.0 and now 2.0. Because actually this month we will celebrate our 5th anniversary of our IPO. So we went public in 2011, in May 2011. And I must say that first hype was very abrupt, and it's ended by already 2010, 2011, because we actually didn't have any good electric car to drive at the time. We had Chevy Volt, we had the Nissan Leaf, but still only Tesla was coming online with proper proposition what electric drive could deliver us, but they were still very expensive. And like Gary mentioned to you, here we had a very good catalyst this time when all our hard work was crystallized together with a point in time when suddenly people start to realize that electric cars are for real, and it happened with announcement of Tesla Model 3. So if I can translate it to you in a market reality, before batteries were making maximum 10% of the total consumption of lithium demand in the world, and now batteries are moving just to 15-17%, and we're going to move and overtake it, and a dramatic increase will happen within the next 5 years, where my personal projections are that this time demand will increase by 100%. And as you all know, just recently we had a new news release from Tesla when, due to the incredible demand for Tesla Model 3, and they managed to get now more than 400,000 reservations. And Elon Musk called it, it's like the biggest launch of any products in the history of the humankind. Now they are moving forward the production targets, and now Elon Musk is talking that in 2018 they're going to produce 500,000 electric cars already, And by 2020, he's talking now about 1 million cars produced by Tesla. And nobody was accounting for this kind of demand before. And answering your question, for me, it will be the biggest difference between Lithium 1.0 and Lithium 2.0, that now it's for real. Now finally we can see not only the hype, but the real shortage in the market. And the best recognition of this shortage will be the dramatic increase in lithium prices. Even in July last year, you were still able to sign a long-term contracts for supply of lithium at around $6,000 per ton of lithium carbonate equivalent. And now there are some indications that it's already close to 30,000. And definitely it's at the mark of 20,000. So we had threefold increase within last very short 9-10 months.
Yeah, Kirill, so as you said, now it's for real, and that's totally my feeling, right? So it was kind of a vision in Lithium 1.0, now it's for real, and Tesla, and we have to admit, yeah, that Tesla really opened the eyes of the whole world towards the demand for lithium. Still, I'm not a big fan, and we talked about that, Gary, as you might remember, I'm not a big fan of every lithium company in the world is now claiming to be the next guys who deliver lithium to Tesla, right? And that you have a different approach. You have various, you're not in Nevada, right? You're in Ontario, in South America and Ireland. So actually that's, when I was looking at the map, it showed that Tesla is in Nevada, right? Or the gigafactories in Nevada. But all the other car manufacturers, they're all on the East Coast, especially in North America, yeah, and Ireland is close to Europe, yeah, and being, of course, Kirill, you live in London, you don't know about good cars, right? But in Germany, yeah, we have all these big car manufacturers, right? So, and Ireland is not really close to not really far away from Germany, so I think strategically, yeah, it's you're probably better off not being in Nevada like all the other guys. Any comments to this?
If I may, and then I will pass it to Gary, because it will be a great introduction to his rollout of our new initiative about the Upper Canada lithium pool. You are exactly right. A lot of companies now, unfortunately, are going where the hype is. Okay, Tesla is in Nevada, let's go and find some lithium in Nevada. And I love all our friends and competitors at the same time, but I will tell you, we were going where the lithium is. And then we will develop our lithium over there. And it happened to be very early that, yes, in Ireland we are literally at the doorstep of a huge European market, the largest auto market in Europe, of course, will be Germany, where, Michael, you are at the moment. And maybe Gary will address it in a second with our new initiative. And now Argentina is coming to life. We have our main project over there with Ganfeng Lithium. And now it's time for us to talk maybe a little bit about Ganfeng, because Tesla has brought enormous interest in the West to the lithium. And unfortunately for years, as you know, I was writing extensively, and this is how Gary developed all this concept. I still remember that call, Gary, in 2009. Actually, it was in autumn of 2008 when all world was collapsing, and Gary called me and said, Kirill, I've been through all these ups and downs numerous times. It's time to buy into the new deposit. Do you know anything about lithium? Everybody is looking for lithium now. And I said, no, I know nothing. And this is how we started. And after that, I get that lithium fever. I became a very huge advocate of electric cars. But coming back to Ganfeng, people now talking about Tesla all the time. But nobody knows that already in China, literally 28 companies are producing 51 models of electric cars. China is already the largest auto market in the world. China is already called the lithium universe. They control 75% of lithium hydroxide, which actually goes into the, for example, Panasonic lithium cells, and then Panasonic supplies it to Tesla. The huge surprise for a lot of players in electrification, in all this energy revolution, will come when, sorry for this, but nobody from Nevada will be able to deliver any significant amount of lithium, and in the end Tesla will be without any kind of secure supply. And this is the difference, for example, how Chinese players are addressing this issue, and this is the strength and competitive advantage of us working with Ganfeng Lithium. Ganfeng Lithium now has grown into the real giant in lithium market with market capitalization of $4 billion. And they're financing, like Gary mentioned, both of our joint ventures, one in Argentina and one in Ireland. So we have totally financed operation for the next few years, up to preliminary feasibility studies, or even maybe up to production at Mariana. Gary can give you more detailed information later. And actually only now West is waking up. That's why, Michael, like you said, we have all this hype when a lot of people are putting news release, oh, we bought this lithium field, or we bought this, we bought that. But this is why it's so important to remember that, for example, we are already in this business from 2008, when Gary came with idea. 2009, we acquired 10 first projects. Actually, in Nevada, we dropped 3 of them, Gary, if I remember it correctly. And then, after all these years and huge amount of few $1 million spent, after due diligence made by one of the largest companies in the world in lithium space, Ganfeng Lithium, we coming now strong in our 5th IPO anniversary with 2 joint ventures and new initiatives. And now I would like maybe to pass it to Gary to tell, because we being in the West, we are happy to work with our friends and very strong cooperation with Ganfeng. But a couple of years ago, we started to think, okay, it's great, we will supply China, we will supply lithium to the largest auto market in the world. But what will happen in the West in the end? Are we still going to buy cells from Panasonic? Or we can start to think maybe we can create something even as close as in Canada, literally on the doorsteps to the North American market, when one day maybe Tesla, General Motors and Ford will be buying lithium cells produced in the United States. And Gary, now maybe I will pass it to you so you can explain our new initiatives, how we would like to combine a few lithium projects into one lithium pool in Canada.
Okay, Kirill. Thanks, Kirill. As you know, our business model has been identifying good projects, bringing in strategic partners, and having those strategic partners essentially develop those assets. And we've been very successful, as Kirill mentioned, having Ganfeng Lithium, one of the largest producers of lithium hydroxide, probably in the world, or at least number 2 or 3. We would like to do that again, and that's something that, as Kirill says, we go where the lithium is at, and we think that we've been able to identify good European source in Ireland. We've got South American brines, and one of the things that we're looking at here now is what we've called the Upper Canada Lithium Pool Project, and we're thinking, as Kirill mentioned, how are we going to supply the rest of North America, the North America automakers, with lithium in the future. I think with regards to the whole electric car industry, is that all the major car manufacturers in the world, and this is what we're betting on, are going to have to vertically integrate down to being able to produce their own batteries to be competitive in this space. And I think that is really kind of our basis of really pushing the Upper Canada Pool project. We've been able to amass at this point in time 3 significant projects. The Mavis, we have the Mavis Lake project, which we talked about earlier, and which we have Pioneer Resources actually spending money and advancing that. We were able to pick up the Raleigh Lake project, which is approximately here, and now as well that complements our Folgen Lake project, which is about there. One of our key aspects on lithium, as I mentioned in our last interview, lithium is really it's an industrial mineral. So it's found everywhere. So you really have to be able to produce it inexpensively. Getting it to market is really the key. And one of the things you can look at here on Mavis Lake is number one, it has all incredible location. It's along a major highway. Yeah, it's close to Thunder Bay. It's 300 kilometers to Thunder Bay. Our Raleigh Lake project, approximately here, is about 250 kilometers away, and our Folgen Lake property here, again, is about 150 kilometers away from Thunder Bay. which is essentially a major port facility. One of the key things is that we have all three locations have rail, power, people, and everywhere else. We got all the infrastructure required to fit in within our model of having a low capex.
Gary, let me ask you a question, because this was raised in this report I was mentioning, and because you just referred to low producing or production costs, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and this guy here is referring to, actually what he's stating is, he's not investing in any hard rock lithium project because the brine projects are way cheaper to produce. What, do you have a statement there? Is that like...
They without a doubt, Michael, I agree that they're cheaper. I wouldn't agree that they're way cheaper. There's also different products that are made from lithium brines and then from hard rock spodumene concentrates. Our partner in China has no fewer than 20 patents, and they're probably the only producer utilizing both spodumene concentrate and lithium hydroxide, making for making high-grade lithium. And so it's how well you can do it and how inexpensively you can do it. I believe the costs of producing, say, a lithium carbonate from spodumene concentrate compared to a brine might be in the neighborhood of 20% more. But again, the margins on I'd even give 20 to 30% more. But the margins on the lithium carbonate and hydroxides at the present time are huge. Also, what can't be done in a brine is scale up your production. You have, within a brine, you have only a limited amount of production that the aquifer will actually, where all the water is sitting. You can only pump so much of that out of that aquifer, and without ruining your deposit. Because again, you can't pump out more water that's actually coming into the system. Otherwise, you'll wind up having your resource will be depleted in no time. So it's very, very fine balancing act how much you can pump out and realistically how much you can produce. So most of these salars and productions from brines are limited in their production size, and also it takes from the time that water is pumped out of the out of the ground to the time it becomes lithium carbonate is about a year to a year and a half, depending on your evaporation rates. So something you can't just turn on and produce a lot. Unlike mines or mining spodumene, you can increase your mining capacity, your milling capacity, and it's much more scalable. You can actually react to markets much quicker from a hard rock than you would be able to from any other brine source. So that's kind of key thing to understand. And the writer is correct. It is cheap. It is cheaper to produce it from brines, but at this point in time, you don't have the availability of scaling up production as you do in hard rocks.
Okay, and I believe you because you have both, right? You have brine and hard rock. So okay, okay.
Yeah, Michael, if I can also add here a little bit to Gary, as you positioned me before that I'm like more from investing point of view, from market point of view. What I would like to say here, very important to confirm Gary's observation from the market perspective, is it definitely was the case when the price for lithium carbonate was like $6,000 per ton. And for example, if you're producing from brine for $4,000 per ton and from hard rock mining for $5,500 per ton, of course the difference was huge. But when we're talking about the prices at the level of $20,000 per ton, this difference is not so big anymore. And the most important, this is basically my investment thesis, I honestly don't care what kind of price will be in the future, because you know what? Ganfeng doesn't care. Why? Because they would like to have it in their backyard, because they know where they're moving. They're moving now from one of the largest companies, so-called lithium converters, when they're buying spodumene as far as in Australia, moving it, shipping it. This is what Gary was talking about. It's commodity business. They're shipping 6% concentrate back to China, convert it into lithium and still making money. And they grown in $4 billion market cap company. So, and you can see also very important, talk is cheap, but you can see at the market performance of all lithium hard rock mining producers, confirming Gary's thesis as well. So I believe at some point it will be not so important what's the price of lithium, but its availability. That's why we would like to build a new secure supply chain for the West, for the Western, largest auto market in the West, in North America, based right in the North America. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the other things I just wanted to comment on is that you're looking at other mines that are being developed in Canada, in northern Canada, and just to emphasize is that, you know, where some of these mines, they've gone through, they're advanced, they've got feasibility studies, but their capital expenditures to bring these things into production are $500 to $600 million. They're in remote areas of Quebec. Infrastructure needs to be put into place, and you know, the old RB Energy is one of the main reasons why it failed was, again, logistics. And so that's why our focus on our whole Upper Canada Pool project was to make sure that everything was logistically viable. And as you can see from the from this image here, is that we really do have all infrastructure and everything available to us, and we're really at the breadbasket here of all the major car manufacturers in very, very close proximity to them. So I think that's one of the key differences in ours, and that was our main purpose of moving that in. And here on this next image here, it shows again from Thunder Bay, you have all close proximity to all of the North American automakers.
That was the one I was referring to.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, including you know, the Tesla Gigafactory. And I may add that right now that the Tesla you know, battery, it'll just be an assembly plant. All the lithium carbonate, lithium hydroxide will more than likely all, if it is in fact produced in Nevada or North America, will be shipped over to Panasonic, which they'll create and have to ship it all back. And that's why I was mentioning earlier is that it's our belief is that all North American car manufacturers will have to vertically integrate down to a point of producing their own batteries, or at least producing them in the country to be competitive. And one of the things that we haven't touched on is that the current price of say a battery for a Tesla, I believe it's about $30,000 to $35,000. And for the Tesla to be competitive, those batteries need to come down to about $4,000 to $5,000, and so where everybody can have a battery-powered car in their driveway.
Right.
So
and and something else came to my mind. And right now everybody's just talking about the electric cars, right? But I would guess that there's also something like e-motorbikes or something which, for example, if you look to the Indian market or to the Asian market, right? I guess they have way more scooters than they have cars, right? So what are the big manufacturers of these scooters? And the second is that I see another really huge market, and that's the, how do you call it? Might be the home electricity storage. Right, so
utility storage.
Yeah, right. So I see
home batteries and utility storage.
Right, and what are the big players in this market, or is it that you have to differentiate between the guys that are really putting together the batteries, and then the rest of the system is built, let's say, from General Electric or something, or how does that work?
It's actually very interesting, if I might jump in here. You're right. Actually, this is how China overtakes the lithium market because of electric scooters. Because if you go to Shanghai or Beijing, everybody on electric scooters, and they started with old chemistry based on lead normal batteries, but they moved very fast to lithium batteries. This is how they started basically in a lithium market space. Now, actually, we have all this, like you call it before, hype, and few very solid players, someone calls this newcomers. It's based only on the sales of electric cars, which is still below 1% of total sales in the world. And only now we are moving very fast. Sales are growing exponentially. Like in China, last year increase was 400%, and China will overtake, it will become the largest market in the world for electric cars this year. And for example, you're asking about the new names. For example, BYD, where Warren Buffett has invested 10% in 2008. Now they became the #1 producer of electric cars in China. They are the largest producer in the world of electric buses. Our strategic partner Ganfeng supplies them with lithium. And BYD, like Tesla, also moving, Michael, like you mentioned before, into the home battery storage and so-called utility storage. And actually now I was just reading the Tesla news release. Tesla quite quietly already producing from the last quarter at the new gigafactory in Nevada, the new so-called Powerwall systems. It's a home battery which makes possible you to use solar power 24/7, and they already sold 2,500 of those systems, as well as 400 of so-called power pack systems, which are destined for utility storage, for the total of 25 megawatts. It's still very, very early in the game, but again, in the West we're reading mostly about Tesla, and Elon Musk is a huge revolutionary and driving force for us. But if you dig little bit deeper, Asia becoming a huge play in this market. Samsung moves into that market. Mercedes-Benz announced home batteries. LG Electronics announced home batteries. BYD is making home batteries. Just another company, I cannot pronounce the name. Yesterday I read a news release that they are going together with Tesla now in Australia. So this is why with Gary we are calling all this move, and this is the huge difference from 2009. Now we have energy revolution for real, when solar power cost drops so dramatically that now average household already can allow to do it. And you know, Australia is moving very fast. China is installing huge amounts of solar power. United States are also coming into this race. And next stage will be the really so-called smart grids and energy distribution systems. When, for example, places like Africa, like India, like China, they can save huge amount of money because they will not have to build all these fixed power lines. Basically, they are moving like this communication from fixed line to mobile. And they can save trillions of dollars, and we hope that part of this money at least will find their way to the place like us, because only few of us developed in this market. And I will show you just few last figures for the investors to show why I'm so personally involved with it, why with Gary we both not only managing this company, but if I can call it, Gary, it's our almost like a nesting egg, because we are investing as well. We are very, very early investors. We will buy even now in this market after this rise a little bit, increasing our positions. And because we believe that this move will disrupt $12 trillion industries, which is energy and transportation transportation is just $4 trillion. So next step will be energy disruption, which is $8 trillion. And industry experts actually thinking that energy storage will consume in the end larger amount of lithium than even cars.
Okay. Yeah, and what?
And the last number for all investors to remember, even now, lithium cost, I will rephrase it. The cost of lithium metal in the end product, lithium battery, is less than 3% and still falling down every year a little bit. So the price for lithium can increase 2 or 3 times before it will really become significant for consumers, and that's why for them all it's so important to anchor and secure the supply, what Ganfeng is doing. What BYD just announced 2 months ago, that now BYD would like to secure supply for them, because in the end, they're all becoming competitors, And then if everybody would like to produce Coca-Cola, you need to have sugar. And sugar is lithium for the batteries.
Okay, that's a great comparison. And actually, at least on this one point, we agree. Yeah, this writer he says that lithium is only 2% of the battery cost, and you refer to 3%. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And you brought on something else, and this is maybe because you're not only lithium, you're kind of green energy, right? So, and I think it's really important to switch towards more and more that solar power is used, right, to as a substitute for oil and gas and whatever, because if the electricity that powers an electronic car is produced by oil or coal, it's still not green, right? So at the end, the electricity has to be produced by renewable power. That's wind and solar and water, right? So so these grids, yeah, like all these big grids, they also need storage for the electricity.
Exactly.
It's not like with oil and gas you just turn it on and off, right? But if you do solar, the grid itself has to store the energy, right? And this
exactly, Michael.
seems to be like a
and
huge
it's going
market.
to be the next huge market. And now, at least in our world, everybody's talking about Tesla. Everybody talking about electric cars, because when you see Tesla on the road, it's like the best advertisement for the whole idea of electric cars. The same is going to be happening with energy. And if everybody talking and we even discussing this hype, and I will tell you another thing, and then definitely I would like to refer back to Gary's, because I can talk for hours why it will be solar, why it will be electric cars. For me, it's definitely, anybody can call me and I will explain that it will be lithium for the next 50 years. But Gary is the one who can tell you how we're going to build this supply, that we are not just dreaming, that we already have goods in the ground, that we know how to deliver them. Why then frankly is so important? Because we have already not only capital, but also we have the technology in place to extract all these minerals and metals which we already have in our project. But like you said, the energy revolution, you just have to look, and I was just watching another video with Elon Musk recently, and what he said is so simple, but still you have to see, or better, you have to drive electric car to understand the difference. What is happening now, the catalyst is that you will be buying, when Tesla Model 3 will be produced, you will be paying less than for BMW 3, sorry Michael, to German automakers, but the car will be similar size like BMW 3 Series and with better performance. Can you imagine it? That suddenly, like you said, you becoming green, and a lot of naysayers, they were telling, oh, you basically still driving on coal. No, it's not the case, because with this new, and I call it bottled electricity idea, you can charge your car at home. So it means either you can produce electricity on industrial scale somewhere and make it as green as possible, or, and we are moving there, at some point everybody will be producing basically at their own home, if they like it to have home, or it will be produced. I tell you, I will throw you another number. There is a very smart gentleman, his name is Tony Seba, he is at Stanford University in United States, and he is a prophet of electric cars and solar energy, and he is telling us, if we can only cover 10% of existing parking spaces in United States with existing solar technology, we will have all electricity what we need for all United States. And now back to lithium, because lithium makes it possible, because suddenly you can use solar power 24/7. But today maybe if you can spend more time with Gary, and Gary can address your questions, why we believe we have competitive advantage and how our strategic partners really helping us to get this advantage.
Okay, but before we head over to Gary, I have one probably last question to you, Kirill. And this actually comes up from one of my readers of yours, and he dropped me an email, and he says like, yeah, that's the hype right now and electronic cars, but there will be a new type of battery over the next couple of years, right? So I don't know. And he said, then you don't need any lithium. It will be whatever, tungsten or and then I read a little bit, and I found out that right now this batteries, I don't know how this technology is called, lithium. In German it's lithium ion technology. I'm not sure about that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
But then I figured out that the new research and development, they came up with a new battery, but it's called lithium sulfur. So it still has lithium in there, right?
Exactly. And Michael, again, I can go here for hours, and here, if I may plug, I have a blog, and all your readers can go there, and they should go Google lithium air battery. And there will be a wonderful 1-hour video if you have enough time, and definitely I will urge everybody, before investing a single penny into any lithium idea, you have to watch this video. And the great scientist from Stanford University again, he is explaining why it's lithium, why it will be for another 50 years, and I have a joke for all my partners that I'm sure for the next 50 years, lithium will power us, and after that, robots. And today I can tell you just two things after 1-hour presentation of that guy. Why lithium? Number one, it's the lowest atomic mass, so it means it's the best chemical element, the best metal in the world when you can store highest amount of possible electricity with the smallest weight, which is so important for all cars. And second, it's the highest reactive metal, because even if you put it, and we have a lot of stories, oh, lithium is blowing up and everything, and I will address it in a second phrase. This highest reactivity allows you to get the highest voltage, which means that you can contain the highest amount of power in the smallest possible volume. And if you remember that it's lowest atomic weight, it means that lithium is the only element which can allow you to have chemistry for the battery when you will have the highest power output, which is very important for electric cars, in the smallest possible space with the smallest possible weight. And another thing, lithium ion actually, and when people are talking about new chemistry, we should remember lithium ion technology was developed by Sony in 1970s, and only by 1990s it was really commercialized, and first it was like walkie-talkie, if you still remember those things and everything. And in 2005 we moved to the so-called new chemistry, NCP, which we're using now, and it was for power tools. And then suddenly Elon Musk figured out, if we can use it for power tools, maybe I can build my first Tesla Roadster. And we're still using it after 2005, so basically it's like 10 years old technology. And next thing is already coming, it will be lithium solid state. Do you remember we were discussing some lithium old technology batteries were blowing up? With lithium solid state, this problem is addressed because there is no liquid inside. No oxygen can get inside, so there is nothing to burn out. And already billionaire Dyson invested 100 million buying this technology, and I personally think Elon Musk already working on lithium solid state at Gigafactory. And addressing what Gary said before, prices for lithium batteries, why it's not a hype, why we're really moving into electric cars which will be better and cheaper, because now Tesla announced that all-in cost in Tesla battery already $190, down from $340, and with lithium solid state we will go to $100, and it will be Gary's number for Tesla Model 3. The battery will cost only $5,000, or for Tesla Model S, like Gary said, it will be now $9,000-$10,000 max, and then we will hit the mass market. And next thing will be lithium air, and this lithium air, which is still down the road for commercialization, in my view, 5-10 years, but then we can talk below $100 per kilowatt hour, and then we can discuss electric car with 1,000 miles driving range. So then basically nobody will be buying oil at all.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Kirill. Gary, would you tell us a little bit about this strategy and how you want to get the lithium to the market? And another question is, we were talking about a couple of acquisitions that if you see a project you like, that you might acquire more if it's not too expensive. And is that probably that you're going to build a hub, kind of a lithium hub, acquiring or consolidating a couple of projects and all in the Ontario area?
That's correct, yeah. And then that's all the basis of our Upper Canada project pool is where, again, as you recall, we have currently 3 projects in and around the Mavis Lake, which is all close to Thunder Bay. These, all 3 projects have extremely high grade spodumene content within their pegmatites. Our model at this point was let's not find one big deposit and put all the infrastructure in one big mine. Well, there's a number of these smaller potential high grade deposits that might not be standalone mines themselves, but collectively within a central processing plant make perfect economic sense. And that's kind of been our philosophy, is that as I keep on harping on, is our Mavis and our Raleigh and our Forgan Lake projects are all within close proximity of Thunder Bay. All have very clean spodumene within the pegmatites. And I mean clean, meaning there's from all our initial work, there's very few deleterious elements that could drive the costs up, and our next phase of work will actually prove we'll be working on the processing of the potential material coming from these 3 sites. But again, our goal is to develop a number of small producers that can actually produce a spodumene concentrate, bring it down to a central location. Our initial idea was bringing it into Thunder Bay, and from there you produce lithium hydroxide or lithium carbonate, which would then be able to supply the North American market. This is rapidly coming to reality here for us. Again, our model has always been to bring in partners to essentially de-risk the process. Again, we've got a partner on Mavis Lake at this point in time, advancing the project. We intend to bring partners in our other projects as well, again, to rapidly advance them to a production decision. And again, where we have the benefit with ILC is that our model is that we bring in partners, but we want to keep offtake agreements. So in other words, is that if we have 3 partnerships on all 3 of our projects in southern Canada, we would still have 100% rights to that spodumene concentrate, which in turn we could then turn into a final product out of a central location. And so our next stage is actually we hope within a year to have our PEA in place, our initial preliminary economic assessment. We are, if we're fortunate enough to bring in some other partners on our other 2 projects, that's fine, but I think there's enough information on our new projects that we can at least advance to our preliminary PEA by the end of this year. And that's kind of our goal. Globally, within our company, again, our mandate with Gangfeng is with our Mariana. They would like to see permitting for production within 3 years. Ireland, again, it's a situation where we're probably 5 to 7 years from production, but that fits in perfectly with the business model. Again, here with our Upper Canada pool, lithium pool, again, that model, and where we're looking at is, again, a 3 to 5 year window. And again, I think that's the time frame that was really going to be, where we're really going to start to see the lithium the lithium battery really take off. And all indications are we have an exponential growth for the demand of lithium. I think within that time period, I think we'll be right on track to reap the harvest of that rising market.
Okay, let me ask a question that just came to my mind. So Gangfeng was your first partner on 2 projects. So don't they have any interest on the Canadian projects, or is that out of their reach, or why didn't they?
we have not broached it with them at this point in time. We are moving forward with this. Again, our goal is to bring in strategic partners, and we're essentially building the model. We have the model. We have the business plan coming together. Once we reach essentially the preliminary economic assessment of our plan, we will then seek out a strategic end product user, and it may very well be Ganfeng, but at this point in time, we're looking and seeing, we're building it first, and we'll see who's going to come.
Okay, and is there, especially if it's projects in, let's say, North America, so Canada and the United States, and as we are aware, yeah, there's a critical shortage of lithium, and China, as Kirill said, China is controlling the majority of lithium. So, is there some political issues if, let's say, Chinese company wants to be a joint venture partner or strategic partner on a North American project? Like from the political side?
Well, not at this point. I don't think we'll see any barriers here in Canada. I can't speak on that for the U.S. I know the Obama administration, and who knows if Trump gets in, it'll be Buy America, and so it'll be. Yeah, so there's those issues that are always out there. There's always a political issue, but at this point, Canada, we're open to any foreign investment at this point in time. One of the bottlenecks, and it's not that there's a shortage of lithium per se in the world. It's a matter of lithium raw material production, and also the ability to actually refine the lithium to a usable end product to make batteries, and there's still very few companies out there that are doing this, and there's also very few companies that are actually producing lithium. You know, we got maybe 4 that quickly come to mind in the world. You've got maybe 3 or 4 major battery producers in the world that are producing lithium batteries. So this will all change within the next 5-year cycle, that I'm predicting, and that we're banking on with our business plan. I think we're going to see in the future the GMs of the world having their own batteries that they're making lithium batteries, and it won't be funneled through Panasonic or LG or other companies like that. They'll have to vertically integrate. They'll have to expand their exposure, and I can see multiple producers and a greater demand for lithium here within that time period.
Okay, just looking at the time, we're at around 60 minutes right now. Just maybe to sum up, are there some advanced talks with new potential joint venture partners for the project you still have? And on the other hand, are you already in talks with new, let's say, projects to acquire new projects? Yeah, let's say towards the end of, or in 2016. So something which is on the table right now. It'd
be fair to say that we're always looking for new projects. We've been evaluating the marketplace. Again, with markets, so right now, with the lithium market being hot, essentially it's a commodity that junior companies are jumping into to get their companies financed. So the market for good quality projects has gone essentially pretty crazy out there. I think you want to be a seller in this market than a buyer with regards to projects, because I think people are paying crazy amounts of money for projects that really don't make any sense. We have the experience with our research. We've been evaluating some advanced projects which we think are still obtainable within reasonable investments. As I mentioned, we're always looking for new opportunities that make sense, and we're always looking for that end product user and new partners for our projects. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a good time to be a seller or partnering of projects, because there's a lot of companies out there. But we want to be selective. We want to partner with serious people that actually are not in it for the hype and the quick financing and the quick flip. We've been through, this is our second cycle on lithium, and we'll be here for the third one. And we're out to be producers, and we're out to find and to develop these assets. And I think we've got a good package. I think we have a good concept. We've proven it to the marketplace that we've been able to do it. We were able to find our Mariana project. We're able to find the Avalonia project in Ireland and secure, not just a partner who's there for the hype. They're actually real producers and end product users, and we want to do that again with our Canadian concept. I think we've got a good business plan. I think we have a good approach to try to essentially, again, lithium. I think we can produce lithium hydroxide and carbonate at a greatly reduced price than some of our competitors, given our business plan and approach in Canada. And I think it'll attract a major partner, as we develop these assets.
Okay. Good luck to you for this. And Kirill, I would like you, because you're also a big shareholder in ILC, 60 seconds for you to tell my audience why they should consider also joining you as investor at ILC.
First of all, Michael, it's very important. We cannot give any investment advice, so nothing should be taken as an investment advice. I can tell you only why I'm investing and invested such a big amount of money for myself, my family money, into this company. First of all, it's team. Because not a lot of people know, but Gary and our Vice President of Exploration, John Harrop, they found already a huge copper deposit which we have in our Tina Gold holding company, and now we have a royalty in it. They found a shotgun gold in Alaska, which we are prepping for another strategic partnership in our holding company. And basically here, what we are doing, we are moving now international lithium, and I call this concept with Gary energy royalty company. And if you remember, I can tell you just a story maybe you investors will like. I was investing in a company called Royal Gold in, I believe, 2003. It was 5 people in the room. They were buying royalties from gold companies, and everybody was joking. What these 5 people are doing, and company was like at $5. And I decided, okay, I'll give it a go. I bought it at 5, and then I was selling it at 100. And even when the gold collapsed from 1900 to 1200, Royal Gold was still holding up. And another company I have a greatest right in my life, it was a silver royalty company called Silver Wheaton. Because with royalty companies, you're building all the strategic partnerships Gary and myself we were explaining to you about. In the end, we believe somebody will produce from Mariana, and International Lithium will receive a royalty from Mariana. Somebody will produce from Ireland, and International Lithium will receive a royalty. So what we are doing, we are buying the best possible project right now, and as an investor, I have a best team in the world, Gary, John Harrop, Anthony Kovac in our company. I know that they can evaluate the best possible projects, because like I told you before, in the end it's a game of numbers. We started with 10 projects, and then 2 of them were picked up by a $4 billion company, Ganfeng Lithium, who are talking about us as the next stage potential lithium supply for them. So this is what we are doing. We are buying the best possible projects, we're finding the best possible partners for them, and moving very fast with our very, very small venture capital. Another thing very important, we are crazy tight on dilution. You can check our count of shares, and we made, Gary mentioned in his first interview, maybe down the road we made, Gary, it was our third financing, very small one. We made one at IPO, then another very small one with Ganfeng, and last one we did at 8 cents in March. And by the way, very best regards to everybody who participated from London in it. But no investment advice here. I love what my team is doing. Future is bright, because for me it definitely will be electric cars. For me there is no question. It's not hydrogen. Call me separately about it. It will be lithium for another 50 years. And now our job is to buy as many projects as we can at reasonable prices, to bring as many Ganfengs of this world as we can, and then we will move with our energy royalty company into the future.
Perfect. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for all the insight. I think I learned a lot. Whoever is going to watch this video is going to learn a lot, not only about ILC, but also about the lithium market, the outlook, the potential. So, everything very much appreciated. Thank you very much. And if you would like to receive more and not miss one of these video interviews, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, right? And then you will get all the information. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Michael, for this opportunity and your interest to our company. Thank you.
Bye-bye.